Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com. It's James Walsh, joined as always by Patrick Kelley and Nick Noel, and on the line with us right now is a true legend in tag team wrestling. You know what? There's a wrestling company on right now that proclaims two of their guys are the best tag team of all time, but in my opinion and in my estimation, the best tag team wrestler of all time right on the line with us right now, Road Warrior Animal. Animal, are you with us?
I'm with you guys. How you guys doing, man?
We're doing great, man. It's a great honor to have you on the program. I can't believe it, but it's been over 8 years for me doing this show, and we never, ever crossed paths, so it's so great to have you on.
Well, you know, to lead into your subject, your lead conversation here, who is this other supposed great tag team anyway?
It's the Dudley Boys, or Team 3D.
The Dudley Boys. Well, that doesn't even deserve a discussion or an argument, so I'm not, you know, I don't need even to go there with you guys. You guys are true wrestling fans. You're experts in what you do. You know, Hawk and I have achieved things that no other tag team will ever achieve in the wrestling business. So, you know, I think our record's safe to say that it'll be okay.
I agree with that.
One thing I will say about the Road Warriors is that I thought you guys were the precursor to Goldberg.
You know, he could have, you know, there's a lot of Goldberg in the Road Warriors, you know what I mean? I mean, we did a lot of the stuff, you know, his flying spear, you know, we did the flying tackles, and, you know, we you know, there's a lot of aggressiveness in the Road Warrior gimmick, but, you know, then again, you know, I think both the Road Warriors, when you physically get in the gym, will probably combine two of the strongest guys ever in the wrestling business together as a tag team.
Yeah, and the thing about you guys, too, that was so different about so many others, and I think that's what we're lacking right now, is you guys were legitimate characters. You guys were not your everyday guys you'd see on the street corner. And, you know, if Jimmy Garvin's DVD, I don't know if you had a chance to see it, he filmed it backstage at the Great American Bash. You guys were just screwing around and having fun, and, you know, you guys seem like you were two definite characters to be around back then.
Well, you know, I think that's what's missing with the wrestling business today, guys. No, it's got very clone-ish. What I mean by that is guys don't have the opportunity to go and learn and let their character and to see if a guy's got charisma. If a guy can't talk, they just throw somebody else in the interview, and they still, you know, he'll be a champion in some other, you know, in some other facet. And in my age, growing up, you had to have charisma, you had to have talent, you had to have athletic ability, and you got to be able to perform. And, you know, I think that's a lost art in the business today.
Absolutely. But we didn't just bring you on to shoot the crap. We also brought you on to talk about your new book, which is out now, Road Warriors, and that is called Danger, Death, and the Rush of Wrestling. And you know what? This book has been out, a couple weeks now, and there's been some buzz on the Internet about it. You know, I think that one of the things that people are seeing about this one is it's a really genuine book.
Well, you know, I didn't. There's no BS in the book. You know, I don't slam anybody in the book. I tell a couple of character-like situations. You know, like my trip to Vince's house and stuff like that. But I don't bury anybody in the book. You're not going to hear about, oh, this guy did that, or that guy did this, or this guy did this much cocaine, or anything like that. I'm not into that slamming process. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to rip people in the book. It's basically a chronological timeline of what the Road Warriors' career was all about from the start to finish, you know?
Exactly, and that's what's so cool about it is that it is really like going through the journey. But it's not the same. If you watch the DVD the WWE put out, it's not the same journey. You get more information in the book than you did from just watching the DVD.
Well, thanks. You know, in the DVD, you know, when they put out the DVD, you know, they'll cut and splice and make the DVD look up whatever way they want it to look. You know the way the wrestling business is in the promotion. The book is the honest truth of how things were when there were suspensions for abuse of any kind. You know what it was like. I mean, I tell what it was like as to have a partner when you get suspended. And I mean, you know, I get into a couple hairy things, but I don't bury anybody, and I don't say anything that the people haven't already guessed or heard online anyway. All I do is I confirm it.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, very cool. Now, it's been a long time since we lost Animal, and I got to tell you, I was at one of your guys' last appearance out here in Arizona, Eloy, Arizona. It was one of your last matches, I assume, and you know, it was great to be there and to see you guys together in the ring. What took so long for you to decide to finally put this on paper?
Well, if you think about it, the wrestling business, you know, they try to do that thing with Heidreich and I, mm-hmm. which is an absolute bust from the very beginning. I only tried as a businessman to get it done. I didn't have very much faith because, you know, like I've always said, many imitators, no duplicators, and nobody could replace Hawk, and nobody could replace Animal. You know what I mean? It's just the way we work together. We gelled that way. And to be honest with you, there was a bunch of books that came out that I thought were honestly garbage. In that meantime, there in that 5, 6, 7 year period, there were a lot of garbage books. Guys were just putting out books to put them out, and it didn't mean anything. So I just was waiting until the calm after the storm, wait till everything calmed down, and now my book's out. And it's right behind Jericho's book, and his book's been out for 2 months, and mine's been out for 1 day, legally 1 day. It came out March 1st. So I mean, I've gotten great reviews on it, and it has to do with the great career that I had with my partner Hawk. If I didn't have Hawk as a partner and Paul Ellering to help teach us, man, it would have been a way different career.
Now, we asked this of Jericho as well last week, and we'll ask you, was it important for you to do this, even though if you would have done it with the WWE, they probably would have, circulated it more, advertised it more, really promoted it, and maybe even sold a few more copies. But the legitimacy and the realism of the book would probably be tampered because they'd want to have some kind of effect on editing things that they didn't agree with out. Was it important for you to do it independent of them?
Yes. That was my main thing. They, had come to me and they wanted me to do the Legends action figures with Mattel, with the new company, and get rid of Janko.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, I'll do that. I said, but the thing I need to have is I already have a book deal, and I need to do my book deal separate. And it really wasn't much of a discussion. They gave me a book deal, and I don't think they really realized that the book was going to be of the quality it is.
Oh, it's a nice.
Not only does it look good, I mean, it's a great book. You know what I mean? And then the cover's great, and that black book with the red paint outline on it. It's unbelievable, man. I'm so proud of that darn book. But you're right. They would have changed my story to fit whatever their mold was, and I didn't want to let that happen. Besides that, I would not have made as much money on the book if they would have had it. I'd have made a lesser percentage.
You think so?
Yep, I know I would have.
Oh, wow. Now, you're right about the book, by the way, though. It's, there's pictures in it. The cover looks awesome. It's just a great-looking cover, and I'll even tell you this, the truth. I've had Chris Jericho's book, and I've thumbed through it, and I have your book, and I've read most of it, and all that I get sent, as freebies. But my wife, she went through Bruce Hart's book. She went through Chris Jericho's book. She's like, I'm not interested in reading it. Yours, though? And this is not blowing smoke up your butt. Yours, she said, wow, I'm going to read this one. So, it is eye-catching as well to the not necessarily huge Road Warriors fan, but to somebody who definitely, it catches their attention.
Well, thanks, and I appreciate that, and that means a lot to me because, I think our gimmick, and this is one thing that separates us, and nothing against the Dudleys, they're a great tag team, and I was like kidding about the comments before.
Yeah.
Well, when you compare us to every other tag team in the wrestling business, there's only one team that has crossed the boundaries of being, I think at one time we were international champs, NWA champs, and WCW champs, or Georgia Championship Wrestling champs at one time. We had 3 different belts. We were the only team to transcend and go to those different companies, which no other team will be able to go now. You're either WWE or you're TNA.
Exactly.
We took pride in that, not in chance of winning the belts, but being the representative of whatever company we're with to draw money for the house and to give the people a good show. At the end of the day, if we don't have people like yourself doing shows like this, if we don't have the fans, we really don't have a wrestling business. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the transfer of things sometimes, you know what I mean? And it's got to be about the fan number one first. And this is what this is, man. I think some of the things that are in my book are what fans really, or some of the things I get asked on a daily basis when I was on the road. And now I'm answering a lot of questions that I've been asked in the past. You know what I mean?
And you've done a few interviews since then. How has the media tour been for you so far? Are you burnt out on talking to us guys yet?
No, man. I'll tell you what. Hey, listen. If it wasn't for guys like yourself and Bill Apter of Pro Wrestling Illustrated did my first cover shot and everything else, the Road Warriors would never got as popular as we did. And it's with guys like yourself and other different companies and different radio stations that I've done and podcasts. I've all along the way been real good supporters of the Road Warriors. We've hardly had any negative stuff said about us at all in our 22-year career, which is pretty phenomenal. You think about the wrestling business,
Yeah, everybody's brutal these days. So,
it's really brutal, and with the new WWE 24/7 show that plays over in China and Korea and in the UK, we're like brand new because there's only one team that was a champion of all those different companies, and that's us.
Exactly.
So
you can watch AWA, you can watch Crockett, whatever it is, you guys are on there.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's a thrill to know it'll go on for years to come, and hopefully people get a good kick out of the book, and and everything in there is the total truth, so there's no BS in it.
I do have to ask you about a couple of your more intricate matches, and they're talked about in the book. One of them was the scaffold match, Starrcade '86, and I got to tell you, we've had Jim Cornette on the show a number of times, and I don't think he'll ever get over that fall. One of the more priceless moments in wrestling history.
I'm telling you, if you could have seen it the way I saw it, up there on the scaffold, sitting there holding on to Jimmy Cornette's arm, and he's going, "Animal, now don't drop me. Don't you drop me." I said, "Don't worry." I said, "Bubba's going to catch you down there." I said, "He's going to catch you." And I said, "Bubba, you ready?" Bubba's down there. "Yeah, I'm ready." And I see him, and I said, "Man, he doesn't look like he's in the right spot." And then Cornette just lets go. I mean, you understand, at the time, Jimmy Cornette was about 260 pounds of not the best built guy in the world, right? And I'm trying to hold him with my arms, like hanging over the scaffold, and so he says, "Okay, I'm ready." I'll let him go, and Bubba says he's ready. Well, I watched Bubba look straight down, and Jimmy landed right on the floor, and I could hear his knees just go. Oh, my knees, my knees, my knees. I tell you what, I didn't know whether to feel sorry for him or piss my pants laughing so hard, because Jimmy, he hit like a lead brick, man, and I knew but Bubba wasn't, God bless his soul, wasn't going to catch him. If he would have catch him, he probably would have broke his back. It was 20 feet up there, 20 feet above the ring.
That's crazy.
And he's going
to, you were involved in some crazy stuff like that, and do you think that you guys? I asked Randy Savage this because he was the first guy to do like the chicken wire cage matches, and you guys were really brought it to another level with the scaffolds. Do you guys think that you guys were kind of the precursor for what we now know as hardcore wrestling?
Probably, but at then it was just done for a special event. Like you had the war games and the scaffold matches. I mean, I did probably about 150 scaffold matches.
Wow.
And I got to the point that halfway through them, we were starting to throw drop kicks up on those 3-foot wide scaffolds. And I don't know anybody that's ever done that before. Even the Rock and Roll Express, when they used to do it, they never even threw drop kicks on those things, because it's a pretty stupid move to do, I will say myself,
They were pretty rickety, too, weren't they?
Oh, they were so unstable because they had to be put up by the union guys who worked in the buildings. And they had no idea how to secure them like the Crockett's did themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about, and you were with the WWE a few years ago, so maybe you have some more insight on this, but one of the major complaints from the wrestling fan base nowadays is that tag team wrestling has just gone to the wayside, and it's never featured as prominently as it was when you were around. Do you have any idea of what's led to the WWE deciding to do that, or do you have any idea if Vince just doesn't like tag team wrestling, or what's the story there?
Well, if you look through time, tag team wrestling has been weeded out by the WWF, WWE for years. I mean, they always put all the glory, money, payoffs, and everything always goes with a single world heavyweight champion. They always have. And, I don't know why or what the reasoning is for fading out tag team wrestling. To me, honestly, I think a tag team match is 10 times more interesting than a single match. There's a lot more going on.
If it's done right. Yeah.
Well, if it's done right, yeah. Sometimes you have 2 managers and 4 guys. There's 6 guys plus a referee, 7, and to keep it all straight, it's actually an art to keep everything smooth and going through, and that's a tribute to the guys we worked with, like the Midnight Express and the 4 Horsemen. They were just ring generals, man. Hawk and I were young kids at the time. We just shut our mouths, say, "Okay, lead us around. What do you want us to do?" And it was easier to entertain the fans that way, and it helped a little bit because. We were sitting in the car one day, and all of a sudden we heard Black Sabbath Iron Man play, and I said, "This is our song." With a, I mean, it gives you goosebumps when you hear about it.
Oh yeah.
But that started the whole match, and when it starts on such a high, which is known today, when people people get a cheer today going to the ring, whether it's John Cena or anybody else, it's always called the Warrior Pop. And it was kind of named after Hawk and I. As a guy gets to go out and cheer like The Rock on Monday night, he got a Warrior Pop when he came down to the ring. It's a standing ovation, chilling pop, that was named after us. Kind of a, under the table type of a comment in the wrestling business. But it was, hey, it is what it is, man. The people we were good at entertaining people in a tag team manner. That's why Hawk and I never ever were ever going to turn